Alright, so you want to be a master of Pokemon Quest. You're a few expeditions into the game and you've just pulled a Squirtle. And then look at that, you pulled another one. But which one do you choose to train? Well, I'm going to tell you, but first here's my credentials. I played way too much of this game, truly more than anyone should. You can beat this game in a few weeks as a casual player, but for some reason, I just kept playing it over and over again over multiple accounts. It probably doesn't hurt that these are the Pokemon I grew up with, though. There's a few things that we can do to see which one of our new Squirtles are viable. The first thing you want to do is check the Power Charm placement. That's that grid that decides whether you can place offensive stats or defensive stats. There's no real wrong answers here. It's going to be mostly down to personal taste and what your team needs. You've got 9 slots and you can get all 9 going defense or offense or any mix-up. So let's take a look at these guys. To keep it straight, let's give them some names. Squirtle A, we're going to call you Squid, and Squirtle B, we're going to call you Squire. Now, Squid has 3 offense and 5 defense, and then 1 that can go either way. Squire has 6 offense and 2 defense, and again, 1 that can go either way. Just looking at this means that Squid will be a better tank and Squire will be a better attacker, but that's only the beginning. The next thing you need to know is that the pot you use to bring your Pokemon into your camp actually changes the stats. Squid and Squire actually both came from the same type of pot, so to show you how big of a difference this can make, I'm going to show you my shiny Persian Martin. Martin was caught using the basic starter pot. He's level 51 now, but without any power charms on him, he has 357 HP and 457 attack. Now, sometime later, I adopted a friend for Martin, because cat people know you can't have just one. This guy sadly never got a name, but let's just call him Finnish Winds of Winter. This kitty came to camp after I used the silver pot, and you can see that at level 51, he has 549 HP and 636 attack with no charms on him. Unfortunately, this means in Pokemon Quest you shouldn't get attached to any Pokemon, because Martin will never beat Finnish Winds of Winter. But back to Squid and Squire. The next thing to take a glance at is what moves they have. Pokemon in Quest only have 1 or 2 moves, but each Pokemon has a lot of different options for those moves. So let's see which ones our little buddies have. Oh, they both have Bubble. That's not going to help here. Well, luckily we can just use training to get a new move. Let's just throw this Starfish at Squire and see what happens. Ah, he learned Withdraw, a defensive move that does no damage on the offensive brother. Well, this was a giant waste of time, so let's move on. Lastly, you want to look at the bingo bonuses. These are passive boosts to your Pokemon that you'll get as you line up charms. You can see you've unlocked one by the little gray square on the left side lighting up. Now, if you tap the magnifying glass on the top right, you'll see this screen. Squid has pretty good bingo bonuses. He gets a water type attack boost, a flat attack boost, and a knockback distance reduction. Now let's look at Squire, who has water type weight reduction, which is essentially cooldown reduction for water moves. He has knockback reductions and flat attack. So when we look at these two, we can see that Squid will do more damage, but Squire will get more attacks in. Which you pick really depends on your strategy. Squire has the Withdraw ability on him now. With that in mind, his wait time reduction could mean he gets to use it more often and has even more uptime on his defensive buff. It's too bad about his offensive charms though. To show one more quick example, this is Goose. He's a Fearow with Fly and Leer. He also happens to have crit rate, crit damage, crit damage. If you've ever fought a Canadian Goose in a park one-on-one alone at night, you know this can be a pretty accurate representation. So who do we pick? In this case, both Squid and Squire have potential, but in the end, I'm going to keep Squire. Why? Because I know that in the future, I can retrain him to have long-range attacks like Hydro Pump, and his extra attack stats and reduced wait time on water-type moves mean he's going to be pretty strong. Now, on this channel, we don't suffer the weak to live. So that's that. Squire moves on, and remember Squid in our hearts. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or consider subscribing. If you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments and I will answer them as soon as possible.